the innings for Razorback pitching this season. Only pitched 2 innings yesterday, giving up 9 runs to Ole Miss, who is 1 win away from their first trip to OKC.
Right, Bri Lopez is the reason why Ole Miss is here. A lefty that spins it very well, has an elite off-speed pitch that disrupts a lot of hitters' timing.
As we take a look at tonight's Razorback starting lineup brought to you by Capital One, it looks very similar to yesterday. Kaylee Wyckoff in the middle of the lineup has been terrific in the postseason, and yesterday homered off Brianna Lopez. Reagan Johnson leads off by taking ball 1. What a story she has been this year, and really in all 3 seasons wearing a Razorback uniform. One of the best hitters in program history.
Bri Lopez really working that curve to the left-handed hitters, especially the 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup for Arkansas. Ole Miss bringing in 5 infielders, so Lair Boutte coming in from right field to play second base, and that just tells Johnson as a hitter, I'm going to expect something away. But we did see her beat the shift yesterday.
And she goes down looking. First strikeout of the game for Brianna Lopez, and 1 away in the first.
No shift needed when you can pull the string like Bri Lopez can. Look at that changeup. Even though a little bit up in the zone, too close to take. We'll see a lot of those. It's just how she sets it up. It is her best pitch.
Now taking on Reagan Kramer. And Kramer has found a home in the 2-hole after beginning the year hovering in the middle of the lineup, flipping between the 5 and the 6, but has flourished sandwiched between Reagan Johnson and Bri Ellis. Take strike 1. And Courtney Deifel, no stranger to elimination games, no stranger to playing with her back against the wall in a home super regional. This is the 3rd straight time they have hosted a super. But they are just 1-7 all time in super regional games, and that lone win came in the first game of the 2022 series against an unseeded Texas team that wound up winning 2 of 3 and punched its ticket to the Women's College World Series. 2-2 to Kramer.
Anyone that has followed our sport knows the turnaround and just the remarkable job that Coach Deifel has done here at Arkansas. It has been a complete turnaround. You think about a team that was consistently bottom of the SEC to winning the SEC, winning the SEC tournament, putting them consistently in an opportunity like this to host a super regional. But then what is the next step? The next step is getting out of that super regional. Just look at what she's been able to do. Deifel effect, you bet.
The standard has absolutely been risen at Bogle Park as Kramer draws a 1-out walk.
This was an issue yesterday for Ole Miss. Had 9 walks, 1 hit by pitch, so 10 free passes from the Ole Miss pitching staff. And we talked to Coach Traxel. We know who is at the plate now, Bri Ellis. It is about what you do with the hitters in front of her. So not exactly the game plan for Ole Miss to walk Reagan Kramer,
who has now reached base in 16 consecutive games. We wondered coming into this super regional whether or not Bri Ellis would get pitches to hit. Ole Miss pitching answered that question yesterday, getting her out 3 times, including a strikeout. She has been one of the most feared hitters in the history of our sport. but is in the midst of a bit of a slump, Kenzie Fowler. She came into the series averaging a home run every 5 at-bats. She has gone 16 without a home run entering tonight's game.
I think it's just because of the stakes and the magnitude of the matchups that she's playing in. Every weekend, of course, regionals now to supers, every at-bat matters. And so you're seeing pitchers pitch very carefully to her. Ole Miss did walk her once and then hit her by first pitch. So 2 free passes. To your point, did have the strikeout.
And she told us, it's been tough for her adapting to being pitched around, which we've seen so much, particularly late in the regular season and then early in this postseason. It has been an adjustment for Bri Ellis, having the best season of her career. And takes on the 3-1. Back-to-back one-out walks issued by Brianna Lopez. She has one of the greatest OPS numbers we have ever seen in baseball or softball, and right now is on pace to have the highest OPS since we began tracking the statistic 9 years ago in Division I softball.
And she's very proud of that. We talked to her about it on Thursday. Takes a lot of pride in those walks.
And it gives a great opportunity to the young lady at the plate now in Courtney Day. Batting in the cleanup position, was part of that Texas Longhorns team in 2022 that knocked Arkansas out of the NCAA tournament in the Fayetteville Super Regional. That ball gets through Lexi Brady, and both runners advance, and now the go-ahead run at third base in Reagan Kramer.
This would be so huge for Arkansas to take advantage. We talked about the free opportunities yesterday.
2-0 today. Outside ball 3. What a shift after striking out the leadoff hitter Reagan Johnson. Back-to-back walks, and now a 3-0 count to Courtney Day with 1 down.
We were talking before this game about how it is an advantage, in my opinion, and I think you agreed with me, for Arkansas to be visitors, to have the opportunity to get some momentum first. This place is packed.
And there's some juice in the building tonight. 3-1 misses low and away, and the bases are loaded in the first for the Razorbacks. And Kaylee Wyckoff will come to the plate, who has been on a tear in this NCAA postseason.
So you have 3 straight walks to a hitter that did this yesterday. And this is not a home run hitter. Listening to her press conference yesterday, she kind of joked, I didn't even think that was going out. I was just trying to put bat on ball. That's what kind of hitter she is. She's a barrel to the ball type of hitter.
And Ole Miss pitching coach Nancy Evans out of the dugout before this at bat.
To me, this is to calm down the heart rate. The music is bumping, the fans are doing the cheers. You can just feel it's really high right now, and so you don't want to be a pitcher. It's kind of like a quarterback trying to go and make a drive down the field when the other team and the fans in the stands are super loud. You want to have your heart rate be at 80%, relax. And I know Bri Lopez is like that. She is a very calm and cool, collected customer, but I don't care who you are. This type of moment at this stage, you're going to get a little bit tight. You love to see it.
The Beer Hats are out, hoping for a grand slam here in the first inning. In all 3 Arkansas losses to Ole Miss this year, they trailed first to the Rebels. Now trying to return the favor on Elimination Saturday as Wyckoff swings through the first pitch, strike 1. Well, you said it, not traditionally a home run hitter, but boy, has she been on a roll. 12 runs batted in over the last 5 games for Wyckoff. Looks at strike 2. Lopez all year has been the ace for this Ole Miss staff that replaced so much from last year. And came to Ole Miss to pitch in moments like this after beginning her career at the University of Hawaii. Ahead in the count, 1-2. Wyckoff, slow dribbler at third. Lansdell picks and fires the first in time, but Arkansas strikes first in Fayetteville.
Hey, the swinging bunt will get you every time off the end of the bat here. Off-speed pitch, floating away. Ashton Lansdell has no play at the plate, so this is just heads-up softball, making sure that you get an out of the situation. She does. Fortunate for Arkansas, they get a run, and fortunate for Ole Miss, they get an out.
2 on, 2 out for the freshman sensation, Ella McDowell. McDowell, right side, snared at first by Yamas. No play at the bag, and in to score Ellis. 2-0 Razorbacks.
Percy Yamas was playing very far off the line. You can see where she is there, and it's just the chance you take. If she knows that she's already that far, she can't go to her right unless it is Bri Lopez is able to get there. I don't think she can. I think McDowell runs too well. Softball only 60 feet versus baseball 90, so that play you just do not see very often in our sport. You just have to know where you are. The freshman a little bit far back, and you know, Pickens right behind her could have had that play.
And the inning continues for Arkansas as Italia Rijo comes to the plate after going 9 for 10 in the Fayetteville Regional. Yesterday, a more modest 1 for 4. Riding a 5-game hit streak in the postseason. 1-2 after the change piece from Lopez.
Just ridiculous numbers last weekend.
'30th pitch of the inning for Lopez. Swing and a miss, and the second strikeout of the inning ends it by Capital One. Ashton Lansdell on your screen, homered yesterday, but frankly 1 through 9 since postseason began has been a problem for opposing pitching. This is a Rebels team that has scored 7 or more runs in all 4 of their NCAA tournament wins to this point, including a program record 9 in an NCAA tournament game yesterday against Arkansas. And the first pitch to Jaden Pone is a strike from Burnham. Jaden Pone, the second-year transfer from Longwood University, where she was the Big South Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year, pops out to the left side and making the catch. Italia Rijo one down.
Burnham does such a good job setting up her rise. Call it climbing the ladder. She'll throw a low rise, kind of mid-thigh, and then can just keep moving it up.
Talk about a big moment in your career as a freshman. Up the middle from Lair Boutte. And the Houston transfer is aboard in the bottom of the first for Ole Miss.
A little bit off the end of the bat just because of the away spin kind of going up as well. So credit Boutte getting on top of that rise, seeing it up the middle. Boutte has been a little bit quiet in the NCAA tournament. So good news for Ole Miss if she can get going.
Now hits in back-to-back games after going 0 for 10 in the Tucson Regional. And now passes the bat to one of the hottest hitters in college softball right now, and that is the 6th-year senior Aaliyah Binford. In her final season of softball, playing for Ole Miss, after taking Baylor to within 1 game of the Women's College World Series last year, falling in the Gainesville Super. Tying run at the plate here with 1 down in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, this is a hitter that Ole Miss needs to be very careful with. I know we keep talking about the whole lineup, but Aaliyah Binford to me has been the one that has set the momentum. And she kind of gets this offense going.
Binford, mile-high pop-up in the infield, and McDowell puts it away. 2 down in the first.
And 2 pop-ups. So you know that Ole Miss is a big swinging team. We know the home run power that they have. Kind of a dangerous game that you have to play as a rise ball pitcher, but you just got to trust your spots. Trust softball. Give us all the game 3s.
3 teams have punched their tickets to Oklahoma City, Oregon doing it, and Oklahoma, the inevitable Sooners, 9 straight trips to the Women's College World Series. Meanwhile, neither of these teams have ever been. So much history on the line tonight and all weekend for these 2 programs as Carly Davison leads off the second for Arkansas.
Also think about the matchup of Georgia and Florida, so very similar to our matchup with the conference opponents and this no secrets mentality, and everything is on the table. There's so much film between all 4 of those teams. Of course, Georgia, Florida, quite the rivalry.
Yes.
This one is just the first. Who's going to do it? Who can get there fastest?
Kennedy Miller now batting in the 9th spot. The interesting thing about this matchup is that Ole Miss was one of 2 teams all year during SEC play to take the series from Arkansas. The other, of course, was Oklahoma. And the way Ole Miss did it was exactly how they came out yesterday, Kenzie. That is throwing the first punch, keeping the foot on the gas.
Yeah, Arkansas did win game 3 and the score got out of hand, but to your point, it was exactly that. Felt like a year ago, it was 2 months ago, back in March. These teams are completely different, but it was kind of a turning point for Arkansas and for Courtney Deifel. Next weekend, lost the series to OU and kind of flipped the script after that weekend, said we need to look ourselves in the mirror and be a different team.
3rd strikeout of the game for Brianna Lopez, whose off-speed stuff has been terrific early in this game. 2 down in the 2nd inning.
It's always so good. You can see that ball in the other batter's box. It is down in the zone. Fans at home thinking, what are you doing swinging at a ball like this? But it looks so meaty when it's coming in, just falls off the table. You have to sell that. You have to tunnel it well. She does both.
Back to the top of the order. Reagan Johnson into the shift. And a 1-2-3 2nd inning for Brianna. Elusive game 3 tonight with Clemson. Your thoughts?
That game was a little bit off the rails last night in the best way. Felt like Clemson had chance after chance to get it done, and just Tegan Cavan showed us why she is still one of the best pitchers in the country. So I love a game 3. There are no secrets. Everyone knows everything. Also kind of a fun, intriguing matchup because
Totally.
you have Texas, who's been in the Champ Series game, you know, a couple of times the last couple of seasons, and you have a Clemson program that is still so new and doing amazing things, trying to get their first ticket to OKC.
So many teams clawing for their first this weekend. 2-1 to Brady, popped up right side. Ellis trying to maneuver around Jamie Traxel at first base, and she does. An underrated defender at first makes the first out on the bottom of the second.
Yeah, she's a huge piece of why Arkansas is the best defensive team in the country. They have the best fielding percentage. And Bri Ellis, we know what she can do offensively, but if you've played this sport, you know how underrated a good first baseman can be. I always say a good first baseman is like an umpire. You only notice them if they're bad. Right? You notice when you have a bad first baseman, it ruins the ball game. She is so good and so steady.
One of 3 finalists for National Player of the Year. The other 2 being Jordy Ball and Nyjah Kennedy. Meanwhile, Mackenzie Pickens has had a terrific start to her career in Oxford. And yesterday was the only Ole Miss player with multiple hits. It's such an interesting Ole Miss team that not many saw doing this when the season began. 16 newcomers, including 8 freshmen. Pickens being one of them, playing in significant roles. And yet here they are with a 41-win season, Kenzie, and a win away from a trip to Oklahoma City.
Now you look at their lineup, 6 seniors, 7 when Bri Lopez is the starter in the circle. But 4 of those seniors are new transfers. So it's like you have just a very new team. It's nice to have the transfers with experience, and you know the heart rate doesn't get high in big moments. They've been on the stage. And then you sprinkle in the 2 freshmen of Percy Yamas and Mackenzie Pickens.
And Pickens is aboard with a 1-out walk.
She has had very veteran-looking at-bats. We talked about how successful she's been and her numbers, but she just looks so calm. Has that look in her eye. Coach Traxel calls her a dog. Gotta have a dog at second base.
Ashton Lansdell made her super regional appearance yesterday and homered. And now has home runs in each of the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, including the regional last week in Tucson. Go-to count from Burnham. Lansdell goes down looking. And the first strikeout of the game for the freshman Peyton Burnham.
That rise change combo is just filthy. You set up this pitch, that rise, it's low, you see the late break, but it's set up by the off speed. So it speeds it up, too close to take, tough in on the hands, just well executed.
Angelina De Leon scorches it up the middle. Pickens will stay put at second base, and the inning continues with 2 outs.
Ole Miss just keeps at you. They do such a good job of picking each other up and not letting a team feel all that momentum, and you could feel it with the crowd with that strikeout looking. Could easily have, exploded with the crowd so loud, and Angelina De Leon just pokes it up the middle, and that's what they've done, especially in this postseason run. They just stay at you 1 through 9.
Taylor Malvin comes to the plate in the 9 spot. Shoots it in the left, and Kramer puts it away. Burnham pitching around 2 on and 2 out. And Arkansas maintains a 2-run.
But you have to have a little bit of perspective as to where they've come from.
No doubt. Reagan Kramer leading things off in the second. High fly ball, shallow left. Jaden Pone puts it away, 1 down. Well, the Women's College World Series returns again to Oklahoma City. Action begins Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2025 Women's College World Series, you can go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Bri Ellis, one of the program's all-time best at the plate. And each time she comes to the plate, more and more cameras and phones coming out of the pockets of those seated here at Bogle Park, both behind the plate and on the berm. She has been sitting on 26 home runs since early May, tied for first all-time in single-season home runs in the SEC. Dad Ron, Mom Molly looking on from the third base dugout. 0-2 count from Brianna Lopez, and time called by Lexi Brady.
0-2 here. How about Bri Lopez? Fearless, attacking early. Bri Ellis does not strike out often. It's what makes her so good. We did see her strike out yesterday against Aaliyah Binford.
Hitless in the NCAA tournament, though she does have 8 walks and 2 hit by pitches. Ellis in the air to left field, and Pone at the wall makes the catch in foul territory. 2 down.
Man, that feels so good for Lopez, because you just talk about that scouting report with your pitching coach, with your head coach. How are we going to handle her? And you have the game plan, but can you do it? Can you get the hitter in front of her out in Reagan Kramer? Lopez did. It frees her up to pitch and attack Ellis.
Set down 6 in a row as Courtney Day comes to the plate with the bases empty. Day, one of 11 newcomers this year for Arkansas in their own right. They did return 5 starters from the regional team last season, and they were extremely intentional about the pieces that they added to the core returning, including Courtney Day, who was not even playing collegiate softball last year.
Just such a cool story. He's given an opportunity. Coach Deifel says, we are her happy ending. It's been a journey to get to this point.
So she began her career at Texas, helping the Longhorns reach the 2022 Women's College World Series. Actually spent some time at Ole Miss, then suffered an injury, got out of softball, started coaching varsity softball at Tarkington High School, and thought she was done, Kenzie. But then, at the urging of some friends, jumped into the portal in the fall, signed with Arkansas just before Christmas of 2024, and joined the program in the middle of the school year. And what an addition she has been, as she draws a 2-out walk.
I got a call from Carly Ratcliffe, Coach Deifel said, one of the seniors on this Arkansas roster, and who is really good friends with Courtney Day, and said, Coach, let me tell you, she can make us better. She is good, not only a good person, but number 2, she is a talent. And Courtney said, well, everyone loves Carly, so Carly is vouching for Courtney. Okay, I trust you, Carly. Let's make a call.
One of the things that I thought was so interesting about that conversation that Courtney Deifel talked to us about was, not only can she make us better, but does she fit?
Yes.
And that was a big thing for Courtney, who felt like they were maybe a piece or 2 away last year from being a World Series contender.
Yeah, so it's so huge when a beloved person on your roster, which is Carly Ratcliffe, a senior that is a leader. You don't see her all the time on the field, but is a huge part of the clubhouse. So she's leading the charge and saying, no, this person is going to be part of our culture, and the rest of the team kind of falls in line, and it's just such a good match and a good fit.
This Tech playing in her first ever NCAA tournament this year, and goes down on strikes. 4 Ks for Brianna Lopez. Keeps it a 2-run game in Fayetteville.
We've seen Bri Lopez work the curve, the change. How about a K on the rise? Nice movement there from the lefty. Bri was super emotional when she got her golden ticket. Just talked about how much it meant for her to realize that she has the ability and the dream coming true of playing professional softball. That will be coming up right after the Women's College World Series.
Jaden Pone looks at strike one. That was interesting. We had a chance to chat with Bri coming into this Super Regional. Of course, she's in her second year after transferring over from Auburn. And she told us she had a renewed love for the game coming to Arkansas, working with Courtney Deifel, working with DJ Gasso, who has been instrumental in her offensive output this year. And I think Bri has been extremely candid all season long with so much spotlight on her. As McDowell puts out number one. It was fun, wasn't it, Kenzie, to see her just with her guard down, no cameras, just a casual conversation at a table here in Fayetteville.
Yeah, she's full of personality, and of course we know all of her offensive stats, but one of the stats that we actually got to break to her, she didn't know it, but she is the Iron Woman of college softball. She has the most consecutive starts in the country at first base.
One out single for Lair Boutte, who has come alive a little bit in this Super Regional after going 0 for 10 in the Regional in Tucson. Now a 2-hit night in Fayetteville. And watch out for this bat. Leah Binford digging in. An excuse me swing will get out of play. Binford broke the program's single-season RBI record yesterday with that solo home run in the first inning off Robin Heron. 9 of her RBI have come in the postseason, and your scouting report on her is so spot on. A violent swing.
Swings to do damage, swings with intent.
Popped up. What else is new? This time behind the plate, 2 down.
You can see the frustration from her, but that is the spin that Peyton Burnham puts on her rise. Likes to go arm side. Binford is a right-handed hitter, so it's a great matchup.
5th pop-out induced by the freshman Peyton Burnham. And now Percy Yamas. And the lefty looks at strike one. Ole Miss was so good yesterday with 2 strikes. I beg your pardon, with 2 outs. 6 for 13, 8 of their 9 runs came with 2 outs. This to shallow left. Kramer is there. And the freshman Peyton Burnham cruising through 3. We'll chat with their head coach Courtney Deifel when we return.
This team's a blast. They've got so much fight, so much heart, so much character. So that's what we're seeing.
Coach, kind of a cool moment before the game. Your team went around the entire ballpark and kind of high-fived everyone that was waiting to come in. Why was that important for them to do that?
Our fans have been incredible, and one thing that keeps them coming back is the way these players play with their heart, but this the connection that they make with our fans. Look at this place. How can you not give back and just tell them how much we appreciate them? It's an electric atmosphere. They've been huge for us, and they're huge for us again tonight.
Well, we're certainly glad to be here for it. Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
This ballpark opened in 2009, and they have ranked top 3 nationally in home attendance over the last 2 years. That is, again, going back to what we talked about, what Courtney Deifel has built here in Fayetteville.
And it's just the little things that matter. Taking the time to thank them for lining up early. I mean, who does that? I was a little bit floored up here. I was watching. What are they doing? Oh, they're high-fiving their fans. That is the coolest thing ever.
The folks on the berm were lined up 2 hours plus before the gates opened, which was an hour before first pitch. McDowell, slow roller at third. Lansdale's going to have to make a quick play, and she does. From the hot corner to get the speedy freshman. One down in the fourth.
This is third baseman on third baseman crime right here. Ella McDowell, the third baseman for Arkansas. A little bit of a swinging bunt, and that's exactly how you have to play it. Lansdale running through that, no time to set your feet. She throws out of the slot so well. So she stays low when she fields it and throws from that position. Just so smooth at third.
Natalia Rijo puts a charge into center, and a diving play by Lair Boutte. No, it's Taylor Malvin in center, making another diving catch in this series.
Well, she was in right field yesterday and made a play like this almost identical. We also saw Reagan Johnson make a play like this yesterday. Holding her wrist a little bit, kind of got rolled up there, but you got to secure it, and she does.
First-year outfield starter Taylor Malvin, who told us when we asked her, why'd you stick around after taking 18 at-bats through the first 2 seasons? She said, that's just how I'm built. Had always had an underdog mentality. That resonated with Jamie Traxel, who also sort of embodies that underdog theme. And so Taylor Malvin, now in her 3rd year, has won a starting spot, and boy, she earned it.
Yeah, just such a cool story. You know, we're in the era of transfer portals, and she acknowledged that. Yes, I easily could have hit the portal. No one would have questioned it one bit just because she wasn't playing. But to your point, prides herself in being loyal, and she said the adversity that I was able to face in my freshman year, only had, I believe, 1 at-bat, and played just a little bit last season, but set her up to the success that she's seen this season. That's what I love about getting to the postseason, when we get to sit down with these athletes and really hear their stories about why they are who they are and what makes them them and getting to this point.
Oh, and that sneaks past Lansdale off the bat of Carly Davison. A rare miss by the baseball player at third, converted to softballer, and it leads to an extended inning.
Yeah, you could see Lansdale turn to Lopez real quick and said, my bad. She knows how good she is. She wants this ball back. But credit to Davison, turns on that inside pitch and stays hot at the bottom of the lineup.
Kennedy Miller comes to the plate with a runner on here in the 4th. 2-run lead for Arkansas. Need a win tonight to extend their season. Down the line and foul.
We're seeing a lot of foul balls from these right-handed hitters from Arkansas. Lopez, the lefty, is working that curve in, and she is fearless. It always takes a lot of guts for a pitcher at this level to consistently pound the inside part of the strike zone. Little room for error.
1-2 swing and a miss, and the 5th strikeout for Brianna Lopez. We will chat with her. Had 1 hiccup in the 1 loss to Arizona in Tucson. But otherwise, they've scored 7 or more runs. They have hit seemingly everything, including 9 runs on 9 hits yesterday. Interesting to see them playing from behind without a ton of offensive momentum yet, Kenzie.
I saw Ole Miss against Grand Canyon. on the Friday night game. Ole Miss was the 2 seed, Grand Canyon the 3 seed in Tucson, and Grand Canyon came out ahead 3-0, and Ole Miss had to fight their way back, ultimately won with dominance, but it was the way they had to get there. Kind of feels like a game like this where you get a hit here, get a hit there, but really nothing is happening. And so this game is moving very quickly.
You'd never know nothing was happening, though, looking at their dugout. They are as loose as they can be. As Lexi Brady leads it off in the 5 spot to start the 4th inning. And that was a consistent theme in our conversation with everybody in their program, coaches and players included, coming into the Super Regional. The mix of youth, we've never been here before. We don't know what we don't know.
Well, Ole Miss has no reason to play tight. Zero. They are an unseeded team, came out of the Tucson Regional, upsetting Arizona, who is the 13 overall seed. And you go into Arkansas, who's the 4 overall seed. You really have to play into that, and I think they do a great job. That spoiler mentality, that underdog mentality. And it's so key to get your pieces feeling their best, of course, here in May for the postseason. But if your key is to play loose, you've got to really full send on that. And even when things aren't going well, this is a tight ball game, right? 2-0. But if we're a team that needs to feel loose, let's force a little bit. Let's keep our smiles up. Let's keep our cheers up. And then maybe hope that some things can start to fall into place.
Big swing and a miss. 3-pitch strikeout for Burnham. 2 down in the 4th.
Meanwhile, Peyton Burnham just continues to spin it. I love this rise. It's located inside well. It has tight spin. Big swings from the righties from Ole Miss. And Burnham is just going right at him.
0-1 Ashton Lansdell. Peyton Burnham doesn't look like a freshman in the circle. Tossed 9 scoreless innings over her 2 appearances in the Fayetteville Regional. Of course, one of those was the no-hitter against St. Louis, the first in program history in an NCAA tournament game. But really all season, her 15 wins coming into the Super, the most by a Razorback freshman since Mary Half in 2017. And a 2-2 count to Lansdell.
It's been just such a great 1-2 punch with Robin Heron, the lefty. Big difference from what we saw out of Ole Miss last night.
Burnham has kept the Rebels at bay and gets back-to-back Ks to end the 4th. And Reagan Johnson leads it off for the Razorbacks here in the 5th. 3rd time through the order against Brianna Lopez. Meanwhile, a Game 3 going on right now over on ESPN in Austin. Texas leading Clemson 3-1 in the bottom of the 3rd. Not surprised to see all the Game 3s given how competitive and how much parity we've seen in the game this year.
Yeah, and Game 3 is, in my opinion, really always going to favor that host team. You get that momentum, kind of get the monkey off your back early.
Two-one to Johnson. Slapped right into the backhand of Lansdell. 1 away.
She was in so tight because you have to respect the short game of Reagan Johnson. She can drop a drag at any moment's notice. And so it's that cat and mouse that slappers and third basemen always have. Johnson sees that Lansdell's up in her face, so she says, I'm going to power up. Just the reaction for that, man, so good. 1
down, base is clear for Reagan Kramer. First pitch swinging into left, and Jaden Pone makes the catch, 2 away. One of the things that Ole Miss pitching has done really well in this series is get leadoff outs. Arkansas leadoff hitters are now 1 for 12 in the series, and today against Lopez, they are 0 for 5. Gave up just that one hit in the first inning, an infield single to Ella McDowell. But the 3 walks are...
Oh my goodness.
Lopez, I beg your pardon, Ellis will take somebody's head off of the foul ball.
Got a little smile there out of coach. I would be so deep in left field as a third base coach. Or just in the dugout, I'm gonna be honest.
Well, Courtney Deifel's barely on the field. I mean, she is tucked up against the dugout fence.
She's built different though. She's a catcher. So, you know, those catchers are not afraid at all. Maybe a little afraid, Bree? I don't know.
1-1 to Bree Ellis. Has had a historic season at the plate for Arkansas, and will certainly go down as one of the greatest power hitters in the history of this conference, the player of the year in the SEC. Takes the 2-1 in the left and down for a base hit. And Ellis has her first base knock of the tournament.
This is why I love Bree Ellis. So self-aware. And feed that to your team. This is not her favorite hit. She's jammed up. Look how far in that pitch was, but gets enough of her barrel there. She's so strong. Has so much power. Just gets it out into left, and a little sigh of relief in the exhale. There you go, Bree got her hit.
Hard to believe the player of the year in the SEC top 3 finalists had gone this long without a hit. Part of it was she wasn't being pitched too early in the postseason. 8 walks, 2 hit by pitches, as this is sent into the gap off the bat of Courtney Day. Ellis will go to third, Day into second base. And a 2-out rally in Fayetteville.
Bree Ellis starts the 2-out rally. Passes the bat to her fellow senior Courtney Day, who has the tall task of constantly getting pitches because nobody wants to pitch to Bree, but they'll pitch to Courtney, and Courtney will take it. This is a solid piece. Left center gap. Ellis held up at second base. I thought it was a full send. Could have easily just gone first to third, but she has some sneaky speed out there on the base paths.
First extra base hit of the night for either team. Hard to believe, given the amount of extra base hits we had yesterday. Multiple home runs. Ole Miss had 4 2-out doubles in game 1. Kaylee Wyckoff was one of the home run hitters yesterday. Trying to add to the 2-out tally for the Hogs here in the 5th. 0-2. Check swing, the appeal to third did not go, according to Chelsea Clark.
Well, this was the pitch that Kaylee Wyckoff struck out in her last at bat, so trying to hold off of that.
Two on, 2 out, 2-2 count to Wyckoff. Right side deep in the hole at second base. It gets through Pickens. 2 runs will score. And up to second base goes Wyckoff. And she will stay put. A 4-run lead for the Hogs.
Nothing is more electric than a 2-out rally. And how about the adjustment from Kaylee Wyckoff, who was trying to fight off the rise ball, gets on top of something. When you put the ball on the ground, good things happen. Bri Ellis calling for Courtney Day to get down. A little bit of an awkward tumble there, but they're hugging it out. 2 runs, 2 big insurance runs for Arkansas.
Capacity crowd again tonight of 3,200 plus at Bogle Park. They're feeling a little bit better about a 4-run lead in a must-win game to keep their season alive. Brianna Lopez will stay in the game after the visit to the rubber by Nancy Evans. Ella McDowell comes to the plate with a runner in scoring position and 2 down. And with Wyckoff's speed, a ball into the outfield, Arkansas may try to test Ole Miss. This is the first time really in this game that we have seen Arkansas gather any real momentum offensively. Yes, they had the 2 runs in the first inning, but there were 3 walks. They weren't really making contact with Lopez's pitches.
And that's the difference of this inning. You feel like they've earned it. In the first inning, it was a little bit of a gift, and Ole Miss was very lucky that that first inning only resulted in 2 runs. Had 3 straight walks. Bases were loaded.
McDowell takes the 2-2 to the left side. Lansdale slings it to first base in time. Picked out by Llamas. And that ends the inning. But Razorbacks plate 2 more. They lead by 4 as we head to the home half of the 5th. Has been held scoreless. They have been the ones to struggle with runners on. Just 1 for 7 against the freshman, Peyton Burnham, who has been sensational in her first NCAA tournament. Now over 13 scoreless innings.
Yeah, the young arms stepping up for Coach Deifel and for Arkansas. We saw yesterday a solid performance in relief. Cam Harrison, of course, yesterday was a little bit unusual just because Robin Herron and Peyton Burnham were not healthy. Were sick, out with food poisoning. And so Robin Herron started the game. You could tell things just weren't really right, or velocity was a little bit down, or changeup wasn't hitting for strikes. And so it was kind of a patchwork, all hands on deck operation. But I thought Cam Harrison threw so well, 4 innings, no runs. So you get that performance out of a freshman, then you give the ball in the biggest game of the season to another freshman.
And Cam Harrison had not yet pitched in a postseason game in her collegiate career. That includes the SEC tournament. Her last appearance had been during the final regular season series against LSU. Went the entire SEC tournament and the entire regional round without making an appearance. And you're right, she completely kept the Hogs in the game yesterday, ultimately falling 9-7.
It was the really biggest bright spot for Arkansas.
And now her freshman classmate is working on a gem in game 2. The stretch from Ellis, 2 down. And 7 straight retired for Burnham on just 54 pitches tonight. 2 outs in the 5th.
Well, it's so huge because one freshman can talk to the other freshman, and Courtney Deifel, who's calling pitches, works with the pitchers as their pitching coach, can figure out what was successful. Why was Cam Harrison able to do what she did yesterday against one of the hottest hitting offenses in the country?
What impresses you about Peyton Burnham?
Pumping the zone with the rise and her changeup. I love a changeup rise combo. It is the most opposite you can attack hitters, low and slow, high heat. You are constantly moving hitters' eyes up and down. Not only up and down, but fast and slow.
Oh, 2 count to Jaden Pone. Crowd jeering a little bit as Don Brown went up the third baseline just to get a little chat with the Ole Miss third base coach, and it didn't matter. 5th strikeout of the game for Peyton Burnham, who has retired 8 runs coming in the first. Natalia Rijo, first pitch swinging, diving play, just short by Jaden Pone.
Love to see the effort. All SEC defensive team this season has been a point of pride for Jamie Traxel, who works with the defense.
She's just the second first-team All-SEC player in program history. The other was Kylan Becker, also a terrific outfielder in her heyday at Ole Miss. So we talk so much about what Courtney Deifel has built, and rightfully so, in a decade in Fayetteville. Jamie Traxel is on the right track. First super regional appearance for Ole Miss since 2019. And last night, Ole Miss picked up their first win ever in a super regional.
I loved the dynamic of Coach Traxel being so proud of her team and her program to getting to that third super regional, but also in the same breath, we want to win the whole thing. We want to get to Oklahoma City.
She has been once before with Minnesota. A handful of years ago before making her way down to the SEC. Became the fastest Ole Miss head coach to reach 100 wins. Did that in 2023. 3-2 is rolled right back to the circle, and fielding her position well with Chenio. Matt Schick, what do you have for us?
Man, have an update here from Austin, game 3 of this super regional. Brooke McCubbin, wild pitch, run scores, 2 come home in the inning, Tori Vidal.
What's the saying? Speed never slumps?
I think so. 5-2, Texas with the lead.
Thank you very much, Matt. 5-2 lead for Texas. Very interesting after really the way the first 2 games of that series went. Of course, Clemson won the first game 7-4. Last night, the Tigers had their chance.
Oh, yeah. And Texas is one of those programs where if they get things rolling, they are so talented. They have the arms in the circle. They have the power at the plate. And similar to Arkansas, you're at home. So you get your crowd on your side. You get that ball rolling.
Clemson just scored to make it a 2-run game. Now 5-3 in Austin. 0-2 to Carly Davison. Pop up right side, foul territory. It'll find the seats. Chenio, another freshman for Ole Miss. Program that turned over so much of its roster from a year ago. Davison shoots it through the left side. Her second base knock of the evening.
Sits on the changeup from Huachenio, keeps her hands back. Davison, a pull hitter, has a ton of power to the left side. Finds a hole and stays hot.
Six hits now in the NCAA tournament for the Utah transfer. And that ball caught Lexi Brady in a tough spot.
Well, it hit Kennedy Miller. But you could see.
Did it hit her or did it hit her bat?
I think it hit her. I think it hit her arm, but you could see right away our home plate umpire, Don Brown, was all over it, saying, no, that's going to stay here. Miller probably going outside of the batter's box here. So she's on the chalk. She's already crowding home plate. And so it hits her front arm and then ricochets and goes right down to Lexi Brady. So it will be a ball.
And the count is 1-0.
It can always be a strike. It can be a dead ball strike. It's just whether the umpire thinks it's a strike or not.
Kennedy Miller has a hit in all 4 NCAA tournament games to this point, including 5 runs batted in. Tonight, hitless, seeking 5 straight games with a hit, and that is out of play.
Well, Miller is happy to see someone in the circle that's not named Bree Lopez. Just Lopez absolutely had her number with the changeup. Lefty on righty matchup, now righty on righty.
Two to Miller. And moved her into the 9 spot tonight after she hit in the 8 hole last night. Courtney Deifel making minor adjustments at the bottom of the order. The top of her order has pretty much been the same since the middle of March, when this team really took off. After starting 1-5 in SEC play, they wound up finishing 5th and secured a 4 seed to host a super regional, 3rd time in 5 years. 2-2, Miller right side, and the flip to short, good. And that was interesting. Miller, I'm not sure, knew that there was only 1 out. Wasn't trying necessarily, it didn't look like to me, to beat a double play, but she did anyway.
Mackenzie Pickens fielding this. Pickens did have that error in the last inning, which allowed 2 runs to score, but you're exactly right. You can see Miller right there slowing down. Ooh.
Almost looked like she was turning to walk back to the dugout.
Yep. You can see her right there checking 2 outs. How many outs?
2 down and a runner on for Reagan Johnson.
Saw that happen in the South Carolina UCLA game earlier today. A batter runner didn't know the outs. Sometimes it's tough when you're at the plate. You are so dialed in at your task at hand. Of course, you want to know the count, want to know the outs, but it's unexcusable for base runners to forget the outs and for defenders, but give a little bit of a breather to pitchers and hitters.
Oh, of course you're going to give one. You're going to give leeway to the pitcher.
We got to focus, all right?
You probably never forgot an out.
Oh, no, I definitely did the jog off with 2 outs many a time. And then you just do the walk of shame back, and yeah, okay.
What do you remember about pitching in super regionals and elimination games in particular?
Just how tense it is. It's way more tense than regionals. Regionals is more chaotic. Regionals is more fun, in my opinion, just because there's so many teams that are at your home field and there's so many softball games that you can watch and stream now.
Johnson scorched to short. Well played by DeLeon. Burnham has now thrown 14 scoreless NCAA tournament innings as a freshman from Eugene, Oregon. Taking on the top of the order, Lair Boutte in the 2 spot, followed by Binford and Llamas in this inning. High fly ball to left. Kramer tracking, makes the catch. Well, we'll have Game 3 of the NHL Western Conference Final for you tomorrow afternoon on ABC and ESPN+. Connor McDavid and the Oilers host the Stars at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, with the series tied at 1 game apiece. Arkansas trying to tie this series at 1 apiece. Need a win tonight to extend their season and force Game 3. Can Aaliyah Binford get something going here for the Rebs in the 6th? One thing that both the Baylor coaching staff and the Ole Miss coaching staff said about the former Baylor Bear is that she exudes confidence. Swings through the off-speed, 1-2. Burnham working on a strikeout.
Burnham has had her number. Binford has not been able to leave the infield. An easy pop-up to third base. One to catcher. Kennedy Miller had it.
Nasty. 6 strikeouts and 10 straight retired for the freshman Peyton Burnham.
I just love the confidence that she is exuding. Watch the emotion right after this. She knows who's at the plate. The 3-hitter who comes in. Everyone's talking about how hot a bat Aaliyah Binford has had in the NCAA tournament, and the freshman is just fearless.
Ole Miss last night 6 for 13 with 2 outs. Today 1 for 6. Burnham has been the story. Shot in the left and having a beat on it. Kramer, 1, 2, 3 inning. The 3rd in a row. A decisive Game 3 appearance against Ole Miss tomorrow. They have never won a elimination game in a super regional, and the crowd tonight has certainly been behind them. The 2nd largest ever in a postseason game at Bogle Park. They have been electric and on their feet all night here in Fayetteville.
It has been such a phenomenal atmosphere. And they were ready. They were solid yesterday. It was the time change. It was last minute because of the forecast, and would have been a night game, turns into an 11 o'clock game. And it was a solid crowd, a good turnout, but today just different. They were lined up, ready to go before you and I even got here.
Way before. Looking at the length of the line, I had to ask myself, what time did the first person get in line? Hours before first pitch. Reagan Kramer, 4th time up tonight, has walked and scored and flown out to left twice. Meanwhile, Miley Wachenio back in the circle after relieving Brianna Lopez in the 6th. Trying to keep this a 4-run game with Lexi Brady, Mackenzie Pickens, Ashton Lansdale due up in the 7th. Up the middle for a leadoff single. And the first base knock of Game 2 for Reagan Kramer.
Hitting in front of Bree Ellis. So important for her to set the table, one of the seniors. one of the leaders of this group. And now not only is Ole Miss probably going to have to pitch to Bri Ellis, but Bri Ellis finally got the monkey off her bat in the last at-bat, got her first hit of the NCAA tournament. See if that loosens her up a little bit.
She is one home run away from standing alone atop the SEC single-season home run chart. Sitting on 26. Twice in the regular season series against Ole Miss, homered. Drove in 7 runs in that series. Ahead in the count 2-0 with Kramer at first. In the air to left field. Back on it is Malvin. And she will make the catch at the track. And quickly getting back to first, Kramer. A lot of folks got out of their seats for that fly ball. Tomorrow night's Sunday night baseball matchup, the series finale between the Dodgers and the Mets. 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and E-Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with baseball Sunday night countdown. 1 down in the 7th for Courtney Day. Lofts it into left. Pone is there. 2 outs. I feel like Bri Ellis is getting closer. She's put good contact on the ball a couple of times tonight. Certainly more than we saw in game 1.
Yeah, she just missed that. Sky high.
Kaylee Wyckoff with 2 down. Wyckoff has had an exceptional NCAA tournament, her first. Went 4 for 11 in the regional with 6 runs batted in. Yesterday, homered and drove in 3. Tonight has driven in 1. The 2-0 from Huicheno. A strike. And Courtney Day told us if she had to give a word to describe Kaylee Wyckoff, gamer. Lays off the 2-1 and a hitter's count now to the Texas Tech transfer.
Now she gives you a lot of different looks in the middle of the lineup. Obviously, it breaks up the righties, but just has great barrel control, has good speed, contact hitter.
And she plays multiple positions. Started 9 or more games at 5 different positions during her 2-year career at Texas Tech. She's even caught. Tonight playing in right field. Full count. In the air to left. Pone gliding towards the line, and that will do it for the Razorbacks in the 7th. So Ole Miss down to its final 3 outs. Brady, Pickens, Lansdell will try to keep the game alive for the Rebels.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment.
When we go from 16 to the final 8 and punch tickets to the Women's College World Series. Matt Schumacher, 2-time All-American and Hall of Famer Kenzie Fowler with you. Arkansas seeking their 11th postseason shutout in program history and just their 4th NCAA tournament win when facing elimination. They've never done it in a super regional. And wouldn't you know it, it's a freshman with the ball in the 7th inning. She has been masterful tonight. Strike one to Lexi Brady.
Yeah, super regionals is like a soap opera, man. It is. The drama is so real. The highs are so high, the lows are so low, and everyone is so close and just itching their way to see if they can be the team to get on top.
If Supers is a soap opera, what is regionals?
Oh, that is just chaotic. Just high energy, I feel like regionals, because of the amount of games that we have, and you have, 4 teams and at each site, and got that triple header on Saturday where you have to send someone home. So there's a lot of just chaotic energy, but super regionals, the drama is real. It's why you love sports. It's reality television.
0-2 to Brady. 12 in a row retired for the freshman Peyton Burnham. And one down in the 7th.
And our leading actress, our leading star is a freshman. Just spinning the changeup, spinning the rise ball. Let's go. Follow me, follow my arm. You want to talk about a program that hasn't been able to get over the hump? Well, enter Peyton Burnham, a freshman who has not been a part of that.
Snares that off the bat of Pickens. And now 1 out away from their 2nd ever Super Regional victory to force Game 3 in Fayetteville.
This moment could absolutely be too big for Peyton Burnham. It could be too big. It could be too many people, the brights are too light. She was sick yesterday, had food poisoning. Didn't even warm up.
Doesn't look like it today, huh?
No, she has had that look in her eye since the first pitch of this game. Of course, her team jumps out in the first and gives her a 2 spot, and she just turned it up.
Rachel Connors will pinch hit for Ashton Lansdale here. Did have a pinch hit base knock in the Tucson Regional. But it is desperation time for the Rebels. Down to their final 2 strikes in the 7th. And this program has not had a 7th inning comeback since 2023. 1-2 count. Burnham has set down 13 in a row. 6 strikeouts tonight in a must-win game. 1 strike away from forcing Game 3. And it's caught at first by Bree Ellis. We will see you for Game 3.
The freshman, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits against an offense that scored 9 runs yesterday. She was the only arm that Ole Miss did not see. So she gets the call. She's ready for the moment. This crowd. Here we go. Woo, pig, suey. I got it.
All right, now I just need you to raise your hands and do the whole thing here. What a crowd. What a night in Fayetteville after a heartbreaking loss last night. And of course, we talked about it, Kenzie.